Hello everyone, it's Terry from Everything Homestead. Got a fun one for you today. I have in my yard a big apple tree. And if you look closely there, you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a lot of apples left on it. But unfortunately, a lot have dropped off. Thousands and thousands and thousands of little tiny crab apples. I mean, we're talking little things, most of them not the best. We just keep the tree because it has some beautiful blossoms in the springtime. Nice to look at, nice tree to have in the backyard as far as aesthetics go. But the downside is all these apples. So I've been tempted to trim this tree. I have trimmed the tree a few times over the years, and as most things, when you trim things, it just makes more of that fruit. I've often been tempted just to trim it right about there. That would probably solve all my problems, but then we wouldn't have the blossoms in the spring. But I've got a pretty good solution to all this, and I'll show it to you in just a moment. My name's Terry. I live in Wisconsin. We've been working on it, myself and my wife and my kids have been working on this place for a little over 20 years, trying to build everything as much as we can ourselves and be as self-reliant as possible. I enjoy it. It's a nice way to live. It's a great place to live. The countryside here is beautiful in Wisconsin. If you ever get a chance to visit our state, if you haven't already, you'll see what I mean. In this channel, there's going to be a lot of things that I hope you'd like to join me on to see. There's going to be hunting, fishing, trapping projects. We've got some sheep, some chickens. We will be having some hogs in the future, maybe some cows. We kind of flip it around a little bit. We've got enough space to do some of that stuff, and I enjoy doing it. It's a lot to learn, but it's fun to learn. I think if you want to see what it's like to have your own homestead, and not everything I do is, just like everybody else, but a lot of the stuff is things you have to do to make it on your own in the country. If you live in a city and you think you can move out to the country and make a go of it, these are some of the things that you have to contend with. When the winter season comes, you're gonna see some stuff around here in the wintertime. It gets really cold, really windy, lots of snow, and it's a whole different ball game. But you'll be interested to see it also. I hope you join me on this trip. Now, on this situation I'm talking about today, I've got these apples to pick up, and I've been using a 5-gallon pail and by hand picking them up. But we had a storm come through the other day, and it's just a pain to get all these things picked up, because the next day it's down there again. And if you try to run the lawnmower through there, you've got a nice ground cover of applesauce, and that's not pleasant. It's actually kind of dangerous, because I get my riding lawnmower through there, that applesauce is slippery, and you're slipping all over the place, and you have no control. And if you let that sit for any length of time, it really starts to smell, and it's not a pleasant smell to have next to where you live. So what I'll do is what I usually do is I pick them up and I give them to animals. The pigs love them, horses love them, cows love them. I have had cows get loose and come back, and they do a pretty good job of picking up stuff, but as far as apples are concerned. But they also smash when they walk through just as much as they eat. Still a mess. But I'll pick them up, give them the animals. Deer come up and they eat these things. I have no problem with the deer eating them. These apples are so small. You can cook with them if you want, but they're so small, and sometimes there's pests on or in the apples. To cook with them, there's a lot better choices out there than to mess with these little things. The deer where I live, they can come eat it off the ground when it falls from a tree, but as far as I understand, the rules are that I can't gather them and dump them for the deer, because the Department of Natural Resources frowns on that. So I won't do that. So today I've got something here. My daughter thought of this idea, and it sounded like a good idea, and we're going to see if it's going to work. So I'm not affiliated with the Steel brand or the Steel company, but I really like their products. I have a number of them. They're great. This is my brush trimmer head. It's KM94R version. They've got a lot of different versions. This one's a little bit more heavy duty for heavier applications. I love it. And it also has a rock sweeper attachment that I just put on because I have a gravel driveway, and in the wintertime when I plow the snow, a lot of my gravel ends up in my grass, and it's hard on mowers. And so this thing does a wonderful job sweeping the gravel or rocks off of my lawn and back onto the driveway. I can't believe how well it works, and I love it. And I've had it now for probably, I don't know, 3-4 years. It's a little spendy, but it's well worth it. Saves on lawnmower blades, that's for certain. This thing, I've had it, and my daughter was helping me pick up some apples, and she said, wouldn't this thing work for picking up apples too? Sounds like a good idea. So I thought, hey, let's give it a whirl. I thought, you know, what it does is it just sweeps things up into an area, or for the apple situation, I'm guessing it'll sweep them into a pile. But having the apples in a pile over there is a heck of a lot easier to deal with. I can just take a scoop shovel, shovel them into onto a trailer, or I can bring the tractor over. I could scoop them up with a loader bucket, or I can just scoop them onto the bucket by hand. But it's a lot easier than going one by one all the way through there. Another possibility, which I'm not going to do today, is I could take this and push them or rake them or sweep them, whatever you want to call it, onto the loader of the tractor. It's another possibility. I don't know, it's something that's new to me. I think it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Here it is. We have this area right here. That's where I just did what I did. Piled up all the apples here. There's hundreds and hundreds of apples in this pile, and it only took me, you know, you saw it, just a couple minutes to do that. To pick up these apples by hand, it would have taken me a couple of hours probably. And what a pain. If you have any other ideas on, or better ideas on how to pick these up, please let me know. Leave a comment on any ideas you have, or what you think about all this. I thought it was really cool. I love power equipment. I love chainsaws, power saws, trimmers, lawnmowers, cars, trucks. I love all this stuff, so I'm kind of geeking out a little bit about this. It's really cool to me. Just let me know what you think. One word of caution is that when there's apples on the ground and some of them start to rot a little bit, they attract bees. So if you're allergic to bees, you shouldn't do this. If you don't want to get stung, you gotta make your own decisions on that. It wasn't bad where I'm at, but once in a while these bees that are naturally around these blossoming trees, they'll build a ground nest nearby. And if you run this machine over a ground nest, it's hard to say how they're gonna react. So if you're doing this, just be careful, keep an eye out. If you see bees, get out. It's not worth, it's just not worth it to get stung. Here, I've been watching this almost every day. I know where the bees are. They built the ground nest a little ways away from the tree. So I know where they're at for the most part. And when I'm doing this, I keep an eye out to watch out for stuff like that. So if you're gonna do this, just be careful. Make sure you subscribe. I'll check you later.